federal government will start paying the anticipated wage hike for civil personnel by the end of this month, April, the Punch can learn, barring any last-minute changes to the schedule. The President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, is anticipated to approve the payout with his final signature at any moment. If this plan is approved, the hike would occur around 2 months before the June deadline for the termination of the gasoline subsidy. Officials from the federal government exclusively revealed to the Punch that the new pay boosts, known as a consequential allowance, would result in a 40% increase in the present day of government employees. Olajide Oshundun, the Ministry of Labour and Employment's Director of Press and Public Relations, revealed in an exclusive interview with The Punch that the federal government may start paying the 40% pay increase by the end of April this year. He also said that the 3 months worth of arrears from January, February and March will be paid at a later time. Oshundun, however, stated that he was unable to confirm whether the suggestion made by the government committee tasked with the assignment had actually been accepted by the president. According to him, a civil servant at levels 1 through 17 will see a 40% boost in consequential allowance salaries. In the current system, basic pay and all allowances are combined into what is known as the Consolidated Public Service Salary Structure. Therefore, a public servant's salary rise will be 40% of what they collect now. They will start paying at the end of this month, April, and the arrears from January, February and March will be paid later. Starting in January 2023, the wage will increase. I'm not sure if the president has yet signed the suggestion made by the committee formed to look into the possibility of a wage adjustment for federal personnel. The federal government authorized a wage hike for the nation's civil servants. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, announced last month, and he said, "In the light of the current economic situation," Ngige defined the wage increase as a special provision for civil servants. It is intended to help government employees fend off with the consequences of growing inflation, rising living expenses, and increases in transportation, housing, and power rates. The headline inflation rate in Nigeria reached 22.04% year-over-year in March, the highest level since September 2005, according to The Punch. The NBS also noted that the price of food and drink made a considerable contribution to overall inflation. Food and non-alcoholic beverages 11.42%, housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuel 3.69%, clothing and footwear 1.69%, transportation 1.43%, furnishings, household equipment and maintenance 1.11%, education 0.87%, health 0.66%, miscellaneous goods and services 0.37%, and restaurants and hotels 0.27%. At the divisional level, items that contributed to the increase in the headline index. The planned wage raise, according to leaders of organized labor, is a meager allowance that does not translate into a 40% boost in worker salaries. National Vice President of the Trade Union Congress, Tommy Etim responded by confirming the government's plans to raise allowances and not salaries. As had been implied previously, he claims that the amount has grown due to inflation and the odd circumstances surrounding the termination of the fuel subsidy, but he emphasized that the cash hadn't yet been given to the public servants. The National Bureau of Statistics reports that the most recent increase in inflation is its third consecutive increase this year and is up to 0.13% points from the headline inflation rate in February 2023. I'm aware of the government's initiatives and the payment will begin in January, the man replied. There is no salary rise as a result of the new payment. In order to avoid misleading the public, it is a special allowance rather than a pay rise. It is a one-time basic salary rise rather than a general one. To avoid giving the market women the impression that the government has raised wages, other components have not changed due to the particular circumstances surrounding the termination of the fuel subsidy and inflation. It is an allowance. A stipend is not the same as a pay. I can't comment authoritatively until it hits everyone's bank account because no civil servant has received it. Etim further urged the government to take into account raising other allowances like rent and transportation. Etim is also the president of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria. We would also like it if additional benefits were taken into consideration, particularly housing and transportation. The socio-economic indicators of today do not favor transportation for civil servants, with some of them spending their entire pay on it alone. Not to mention rent and other expenses, it is crucial that the administration take note of that issue, he continued. Nigerian Labour Congress, however, asserted that it was unaware of the anticipated raise, saying we are only hearing rumors. Hakim Ambali, the NLC's national treasurer, claimed that the union had not yet participated in any kind of conversation about the matter because there are mechanisms for discussing fringe benefits and workers' entitlement through collective bargaining, he claimed. For us, we are simply hearing it as rumors. It would need to be agreed upon by all three parties. However, based on what we can now observe, it still appears to be a rumor. We are still waiting for the federal government to invite the relevant labor organization so that negotiations can take place and we can all come to an agreement. And this all can take for now. Thanks and God bless. Ensure you subscribe to our channel, spread this report, and bye for now. Please, thanks so much for listening. Okay.